Yeah. Yeah.
Hey everyone, you're listening to Deeper Grooves, Musicians on Music, hosted by Cliff Beach and sponsored by California Soul Music record label. I'm so happy and honored to be able to speak with Grammy Gospel Award-winning artist Ricky McKinnie from the Blind Boys of Alabama today. They have had an illustrious career with 5 Grammy wins and a Lifetime Achievement Award. Please help me welcome Ricky.
Hello.
Hello, Ricky.
Hi, this is Ricky. How you doing?
Well, welcome, Ricky. We're happy to have you on Deeper Grooves podcast today. We would just kind of want to talk about your illustrious career with the Blind Boys of Alabama and get to know you for our listening audience, and to talk about starting with your latest studio album.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here today, and thank you for the opportunity.
So you guys have made many albums over the years since you've been with the Blind Boys of Alabama, and you guys have won many awards and accolades. I wanted to talk just a little bit about Almost Home. How was this one unique in your process of creating this compared to your previous album?
Okay, this album was a story about how the Blind Boys first got started, and the songs that are on the record are songs that came directly from Clarence and Jimmy's, how I was in school, and just their overall opinion about how they got to where they are today.
And so as you guys were figuring out the song selection and what you were going to do, like what is your process of picking the songs? How do you guys rehearse and practice together and then come into the studio and record?
Well, what we do is lately we have had different producers to come up and songwriters to write songs, but we usually listen to the songs. If the lyrics fit what we believe in, then we take the song and start working on trying to make it work for us. Okay.
And so when you talk about like what you believe in, what do you believe in, or what does the Blind Boys stand for?
Well, we were all brought up in Christian homes, so therefore we do believe in God. We are a faith-oriented group. Because without faith we couldn't have made it this far. And the one thing that we do know is that if you can dream the dream, do the work, and keep the faith, things usually work out okay. So that's what we believe in, keeping the faith and doing the work.
And do you have a favorite song from this album or favorite single?
Well, it was a song that Jimmy sang called "Let My Mother Live Till I Get Grown." That's a song that I can relate to. And God did it for me, too. My mother, when she passed away last year, she was 92 years old. Sarah McKinney, Shipley.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing to have that longevity, and that's a blessing for sure. And so can you tell us a little bit more about that song, like the lyrical content, the vibe of it, how that...
Yeah. Well, that song, it tells about when Jimmy was in school, his mother had taken him to the school for the blind, and she was primarily all he had, and when he felt like he could lean and depend on his mother. So as time went on, it seemed like his whole world was crumbling around him, but when he felt sad, he knew he could call on his mother, so he thought about, let my mother live till I get grown. He figured if his mother lived until he got grown, he'll be able to fare for himself, or fend for himself.
Definitely something that we can all relate to. Now, moving on from the previous album, your version of Higher Ground can be heard on FX's Fargo television program. How does it feel getting your music out through TV to a diverse audience, maybe an audience that isn't familiar with the Blind Boys or familiar with gospel music? How does that help spread this message?
Well, it makes us feel good to know that people can relate to and enjoy our music. That song came about through a producer by the name of John Shalou. He came up with that theme of the house on the rising sun, and he said we need to take the theme, the house of the rising sun, and put the lyrics, Amazing Grace, to it. Well, at first we were like, "No, man, we can't do that," But then when we listened to it, when we tried it, we realized that it fit well, and people from all walks of life could relate to the song itself because the theme caught their attention, and the song is what made it come alive.
That's a great winning combination for sure. Now, with your music, and you've been with the Blind Boys many, many, many years, and other groups, you guys have won 5 Grammys plus a Lifetime Achievement Award Grammy as well. How does it feel to receive that type of recognition for your work?
Well, I started out with the Blind Boys a long time ago. I knew the Blind Boys when I was very young. I met them when I was about 4 years old. I met Clarence and all the original Blind Boys, and it made me feel good to be a part of that because it let people know that disability doesn't have to be a handicap. A disability is just a limitation, and we all have limitations. So it proved to people that if you have the ability and the will, you can make it work. So,
Agreed. I think that's part of your faith and upbringing as well. But I think it's a powerful message that people can overcome, difficulties, and I think hopefully that gives other people an appreciation for what they have as well.
Yeah, I think I've always said that no matter what your situation is, if you know, one thing that has carried me throughout my career, I've learned that just because you are not the choice doesn't mean you don't have the ability. I lost my sight in 1975 from glaucoma. I was 23 years old. And a lot of people thought that might have been the end of my career or whatever I was doing. And a lot of times my ability made it work for me. And that's what it was all about. Because a lot of times, no matter what your situation may be, you don't have to be without sight. You can have different things going on. It could be ethnic, it could be color, it could be size, it could be a lot of different things. But just because you're not the choice, that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to do the job.
Amen. I think that's really powerful too. I think it's like the parable of the talents. Whatever you're given, you just have to work within it. Sometimes we have to learn how to work within those constraints. There's the parable also in the Bible where he had the thorn in the flesh and it didn't get removed. You just have to continue to work within what you have. So that's very powerful. One of my favorite albums from your group is another Grammy Award-winning album by fellow Grammy winner collaboration with Ben Harper. Your album, There Will Be a Light. And I wanted to know, how was it to work with him? I mean, he's an amazing singer, songwriter, slide guitar player. Like, how was it doing this collaborative album?
Right. When we met Ben Harper, we realized that he was a nice guy. He spoke softly, and he's a great musician and singer. But at first, we had no idea that we were going to do an album. We decided we were going to go in the studio and do a couple of songs, and we did. We went in the studio to do a couple of songs, and it began to feel so good that we ended up doing a whole collection of songs. And so it was a great thing. We had opportunity to travel with him, and God worked it out that we won a Grammy for that record. And well, that would be a light. The light began to shine, and it worked out. And here we are today, winning a Grammy with the great Ben Harper. He's become a good friend of ours.
So then when you go into that type of situation, because you're all so talented, adding another person into the mix, I mean, you're used to, the members of your group and the diverse opinions. How is it adding in this other person and then being able to iron sharpen iron, get out the best ideas, and create the best output of music? Well,
the Blind Boys, the first thing, you should always have an open mind. If you have an open mind to other people's ideas and what they're thinking, and you can come together and get on one accord, that always makes it easy. So what we do, if we are going to work with someone, we kind of research the person and who it is and what they believe in, and then we come together and if it feels good, we make it happen, you know. But the main thing, we have an open mind to their ideas, and they have an open mind to ours. And so with open mind and everybody heading in the right direction, things work out just well.
That's good. And it's good to be able to have that moral and ethical compass as you're deciding who not to work with. Now, with that being said, is there anyone you haven't worked with that you would like to if given the chance?
Well, you know, we leave our doors open. Our doors, people have said a long time, our doors swing on welcome hinges. So there's no one in particular that we would like to work with. Stevie Wonder would be a good person. See, we're like this. If you want to work with the Blind Boys and you have lyrics that are good, clean lyrics that people can get some kind of message from, we have no respected person. We will work with you as long as we realize that we're all on one accord, that the lyrics are good and the person is respectful.
I think that's a good decision tree for that. And it comes out in the music. I mean, there's no way that you can sing really powerful, you know, gospel music without having that feeling. You can't have that feeling without the message and the lyrics being very important to that process. So you did talk a little bit, Ricky, going back about origins, but if you could just kind of explain as a young child or as an adult, how did you actually get into music? How did you learn you had this gift for singing, and then how did you eventually get to the Blind Boys?
Oh, well, my mother was a professional singer. Her name was Sarah McKinnie. She sang for a gentleman called Gene Martin and the Gene Martin Singers. And by her singing with Gene Martin, and she would be on some programs with the Blind Boys of Alabama and different ones. And that's how we really met the Blind Boys. And then I was traveling with another group out of Texas called the Gospel Keynotes out of Texas. And I had opportunity to work with Clarence during his solo career from time to time. And also I worked with the original Blind Boys of Alabama. So what happened by me already being on the road, doing what I was doing, it gave me opportunity to work with Clarence and the Blind Boys and a lot of other groups. And then I came home and started my own group, the Ricky McKinnie Singers, and we did some great things. And I had a TV show called Rock with Ricky, and we had a radio show called Angelic Sounds of the Ricky McKinnie Singers. And I was playing for, I know you've heard of Thomas Dorsey.
Oh, yeah.
I was playing for his nephew's church. It was the Great Amount Calvary Baptist Church. He's since passed away. His name was the late B.J. Johnson, Jr. His mother, Bernice Johnson, was Thomas Dorsey's sister. So I was playing with him, and Clarence came to me one day, and he said they were going overseas, and they needed someone to go overseas and possibly sing some background and play drums. So I said, yeah, man, I'm glad to do that. And so I went overseas just to do that tour. I left my group to go overseas with the Blind Boys to do that tour. And then next thing I know, I was with the Blind Boys of Alabama as a member of the group. But it was meant to be because in 1997, the then manager, Lamont Blunt, he passed away. And I've always been a group manager as well. So I managed the Blind Boys from 1997 until 2000. And that's when I met Charles Dreby through Chris Goldsmith. Chris Goldsmith was our agent, and he had been working for us for years and years through the Rosebud Agency. And he told me about Charles Dreby. I went in and had a meeting with Charles Dreby, and we come together, and I told the boys about him, and we hired him, and here we are today. Well, Charles Dreby and Blind Ambition, that's our management company, but I'm still the manager of the Blind Boys office here in Atlanta.
Wow, a man of many hats and many talents, and not afraid of hard work. I'm sure it's good to have someone in the group managing and being a part of the affairs. That's logistics and all that stuff is a huge part of the business, and especially when you're touring, that's a lot of extra work, but in capable hands. So also, as we get kind of into the origin of your upbringing, could you just spend a little bit of time letting us know about who are your musical influences, especially with gospel? You mentioned Thomas A. Dorsey, and there's so many great people within the musical canon. Like, who inspired you musically and influenced you?
Well, I put it to you this way. A lot of people don't know that Clarence Fountain, he inspired me as a musician and in management. Clarence Fountain, when he was doing his solo career, he was one of the guys that he had his own car. He had a chauffeur. He was producing music, and he was managing the Blind Boys. And a lot of times we would have what they would call packages back then, where we take 3 or 4 groups and go into these cities and put on programs. Well, he along with different people, other gospel groups, would go in these towns and have these programs. So I was really inspired by him and his ability to do what he was doing without sight. And then there were people like the late Joe Lagun of the Mighty Clouds of Joy. He inspired me with his singing. And then a gentleman I had opportunity to meet and talk to, Reverend Julius Cheeks. He's known as one of the greatest gospel singers ever lived, quartet singers, and with the Nightingales, and just people like that. They really inspired me and made me want to do what I'm doing today.
Yeah, some great names in there, and quartet as a subgenre of gospel. There's so many great groups, over the last many years, and so. Beyond musical influences, is there a favorite song from the Blind Boys that you enjoy to sing? You guys do so many great songs, but is there a song that really you enjoy getting to perform?
Yeah, when it comes to I've had opportunity to sing a lot of different songs, but one song that always sticks with me is "Amazing Grace," and because that, if it had not been for God's grace, I wouldn't be where I am today. God is always. My thing is this: I'm thankful for yesterday, but I'm grateful for today. And so that song, "Amazing Grace," but the song that really keeps me motivated when we do it is "Look Where He Brought Me From," because He's brought us from a mighty long way. A lot of people thought the Blind Boys weren't going to make it. A lot of people thought I wasn't going to make it. But God said yes when other people said no. So it's just been a wonderful few years.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it, and many years hopefully to come in the future. So what's next for your group? Where do you guys think you'll go musically? Will you have other albums out, or what's next for you?
Well, we're going to do a Christmas special. It's coming up on the 23rd of December.
Oh, wow.
It's a pay-per-view special, and you can go. I don't know when it's going to be aired, but it's on the 23rd, and it'll be on our Blind Boys page. But what is in store for us is that we hope to continue to make people feel good through our music, and we hope that because we realize that without the people, we couldn't make it. So we're looking forward to getting back out there and meeting the people and doing what we do, and that's singing good gospel music. And our thing is that we realize that what's from the heart reaches the heart, and we're going to keep on singing from the heart so we can try to touch somebody else's soul.
I love that. And I think being in front of people is important. So how do you bring some of that live element into the studio when you're recording your album?
Well, when we record a record, first of all, it's all about the vibe. The band, sometimes we use a band, sometimes we use tracks, but mainly the words of the songs, make the difference. All words are not as powerful as others, but when you get that right, those right words and that right music, it really makes a difference. And that's why we have recorded background behind a lot of different people, and then we've done some Blind Boys records, but we just try to give it our all. When we're there, we just give it what we got, and so far so good.
Excellent. And so, what advice would you give someone starting out in music? And so what advice would you give someone that is struggling with maybe some type of hardship in some way, like you have, to be able to overcome? What advice would you give someone, since the music industry is difficult, but then beyond that, there are other challenges in life. So what advice would you give a younger person that needed some mentoring from you?
The main thing I would tell a younger person is what I said earlier. I've always been a dreamer. If you can dream the dream, do the work, and keep the faith, everything's going to be all right.
Okay. Everything's going to be all right. You just got to keep the faith. And I think that it's always about the internal versus the external. So then what do you want your musical legacy to be when it's all said and done? And I hope you have many, many people ahead of you. But, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would that one thing be?
I would like for people to remember that I did the best I could do with what I had to give. And I tried to do that I can. And that I realized that when it came to me, nothing is too hard for God, and God is everything you need. And just remember that I'm a believer. I trust in God. I believe in God, and I don't mind doing the work and that I can do. And that's it. That's it. That's what it is about me. I don't want my living to be in vain. I wrote a song one time said, "Don't let my living be in vain," and that's it.
Oh yes, that's a great song and such a powerful melody and lyrics to it. And so, since you guys have made so many albums, do you have your favorite? Do you have a favorite album that the Blind Boys have done that you worked on?
I really don't have a favorite album because we have sang so many different songs on different records. So I really don't have a favorite album within itself because it's been so many, and every album has its own character. And it might be one song on this one and one song on the other one. But like I said, I like singing music, and any song that we had a song that we did on the album you're talking about, Almost Home. And one thing that you can remember in the song was God Knows Everything.
Mm-hmm. And what's that song about?
It's about God knows everything, no matter what you're going through. He knows what you're going through. He knows where you're going before you've been there. He knows when you're up. He knows when you're down. He's aware of what you're going through. So you just remember, no matter what your situation is, there's nothing too hard because God knows everything.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from with that. I think that's a powerful message people can get behind, especially during the times that we're having currently. Now, for listeners on the podcast who haven't listened to Blind Boys and want to go check you out, is there a good starting point for them?
Yeah, go to theblindboys.com. That's our website, blindboys.com. And you can learn all you need to know about the Blind Boys, where we started out, and what happened. And you can also, you want to know more about me and what I'm doing, you can go to the Ricky McKinnie Experience and learn more about who I am and where I come from and what I'm bringing, what I brought to the group.
Excellent, Ricky. Well, I think those are great starting points for people to learn more about you, Ricky McKinnie, and the Blind Boys of Alabama. I just wanted to say, from all of us at the Deeper Grooves podcast, thank you so much for coming on to chat with us. We'll most certainly circle back to your management team when it's all said and done. The links are out, so you guys will be able to hear this podcast. We'll broadcast that out through all of our social media. But Very much looking forward to your Christmas special and other things coming up in 2021. Always love the sound of your group. I mean, you guys are like a foundation of the gospel genre and super well known. All the accolades and awards are very well received and deserved. And so we just wanted to say again, thank you so much for your contribution and just for the light that you emit through songs.
Yeah, and I would just say this to you. Without people like you taking interest in the Blind Boys and our fans and the producers and the people that make our records and write our songs, a lot of our songs, we couldn't have made it this far. And God, we know within ourselves that God is what it's all about. We don't come to town to preach, but we realize that God is the reason for us being able to do what we do. But I just want to tell the people, don't miss it when the boys are back in town.
That's right. That's going to be when everything is opened up again. We look forward to being able to come out and see you guys on the road.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Take care. We'll be talking soon.
All right. Thank you now. Take care.
After a while. Bye-bye.
You've just listened to Deeper Grooves, Musicians on Music, hosted by Cliff Beach and sponsored by California Soul Music Record Label. I had so much fun talking with the super humble, just the nicest guy, Ricky McKinnie from the Blind Boys of Alabama. Their 5 Grammy wins and Lifetime Achievement Award are very well deserved, and you should check out their music online on theblindboys.com, Ricky McKinnie's website, or all streaming platforms to listen to the Blind Boys of Alabama now. I would like to thank our engineer, Tim Hall in the 1192 Studios for mixing and mastering this recording today. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, you can check us out online at www.californiasoulmusic.com/Deeper Grooves or anchor.fm/Deeper Grooves. Until then, take care, be blessed. I'll talk to you soon.